It looks like your business reported it, but there's some inconsistencies in what they reported. So I'm going to order you to turn over your last 3 years of federal taxes.
Okay. For
Okay.
my personal or business or both
Both,
or
both.
both?
You have
Okay.
to turn them both over because we need to know what your actual income is.
Okay.
So,
Yep, I do
yeah.
have that. Yes, sir.
Okay, then get that to the front of the court. What they will do is if it fluctuates over 3 years, which I asked Mr. Baker if he got anything from the business before we went on the record. So for the record, I did ask him that. And he said he got some stuff from the business, but it fluctuates enough that in the law, if you have consistent income that, is a W-2 employee and we use the 1 year. If you
Okay.
have income that fluctuates from year to year, we average 3 years in total. Okay.
Yes.
So, and Ms. Mice, that should alleviate any concerns that you would have because his taxes would take into account. He may get $2,600 in rent, but if he's paying $2,400 in mortgage, that's a $200 income, not a $2,600 income. So, and that would be on there. So, and it may be that a lot of people set those up as a wash purposefully, and then the house become, what they get is the value of the house at the end, and it helps out in retirement because you pay less taxes on the capital gains from the sale of the house for your retirement than you do for taxes on our 401ks and stuff. So
Correct. Yeah,
there's
I
a
didn't know what
method.
his
Yeah.
mortgage
Well,
was.
and that the taxes will tell us.
Mhm.
So,
No,
yes, Mr.
no,
Protzinski, any questions?
yes, I do. So we just moved in February or March of this year. So I don't have any taxes for the actual home quite yet. How do I address that? Do I just
Not
do
well for this year. Obviously, I need the past 3 years of taxes. You're not going to have taxes for 2024
correct?
yet. When do you normally get them done?
J- uh, I get everything at the end of January, so probably middle February. Realistically, probably beginning of March, just because we have the business as well. So the business gets done first, and then at that point, we set up a second appointment.
Okay,
So,
because what I can tell you both is that this is preserved. The child support will go back to the date that it was requested. It goes back
okay,
to the first of the month after the request. So, ma'am, it may take us some time to get this right, but it's going to go back to August 1st,
Yep. Nope.
one
I
way
just
or
want to
the
make
other.
sure that
And
everything is reported correctly with our
yeah,
children
and
and
and and maybe
daycare.
maybe we do wait for this one until the end of February, and that way we get the most current involved in the. I don't know whether that's going to help you or hurt you, Mr. Protzinski, 'cause I don't know if your income's
I,
gone up or down, but
oh
the
no,
the,
it's
the last three
yeah,
complete years is what we kind of look at. All right.
okay.
So
One
So
more quick question on this
sure.
one. When I talked to my attorney, in 2020, the last 3 years, the first two of those was the sale of my prior business, which we ended up paying out via judgment.
That's why we need to. That's
Per
why we need to see it. Because if
Perfect.
it, if
Okay.
it was if it was part of the property settlement, that's going to not going to be included.
Okay.
You don't sell your house and give her half of it, and then she gets to tell you that your half is included as income when hers
Okay.
isn't. No, that's
Okay.
not the way. That's property. We were looking at actual income, but that's why we
Okay.
would need at this point, it would be 2022, 2023, and 2024. So
Okay.
2021 wouldn't even come into play.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Miss
Well, the sale of business was done over the course of basically two
Right,
years. So yes. Okay.
right. Well, and then you might have to have your attorney contact Mr. Baker.
That makes sense.
All right, Miss Meese, any questions?
Oh no, that was it. Just making sure that we have the rental
All,
income and the child care, because our
yeah,
daughter
I think
daycare's
Mr.
needs
Baker
change.
said that he was confused a little bit about the daycare, so you may need to punch that up for him.
well,
But
Mr.
yeah, okay,
Protzinski,
Mr. Baker. Yeah, what was your?
our requests also include a financial questionnaire and verification of overnights and a child care verification form as well. So I'm uncertain as to who actually remits the child care, if it's Mr. Protzinski or
I
Miss
do.
Mites.
I do have that. The reason I didn't submit that, I was waiting for the daycare. I actually received that on October 11th after everything was closed
Okay,
out. So I
so
do
We
have
didn't get
that from a daycare.
anything at all from you. You communicated by email and said you were going to put
So
information, and I never got anything.
it was
well, this will give
closed
you the
out on
chance.
9/11.
This will give
Yeah.
you the chance to get everything together. All right.
So
If things come out, I
Perfect.
won't see you again. If things don't come out, I'll see you probably the end of next March or April.
Your Honor, do you want us
Yeah.
to just reinitiate a review in like sometime in February, or?
I was going to say, yeah, you might want to because I want to get the most current information and it's going to take us some time.
Okay, so we'll leave
Right.
this termination, enter this termination, preserve the August
First,
1st
the
date,
August date, and that way we get it right. And that way we
and
have
then
the most current 3 years.
reinitiate on what day in February?
Reinitiate probably in the middle of February sometime.
February 15th, if that's a working day.
Unless you have proclivity to want to start something on Valentine's Day, sure.
I'll do that. Oh,
They're in
not
time.
overly sentimental about child support reviews.
I'm not
Well, the
sentimental about
15th is
Valentine's Day,
Saturday.
but
Let's do it Valentine's Day.
all right. Well, sorry I added some levity, folks.
15th is Saturday.
It's just, like I said, what this is about getting it right and getting you through it correctly. And that's all. And there may be some delays. That's why we preserve the date, is because sometimes there are issues like this. And if I set you for a trial for a hearing on this, he still won't have his taxes done for 2023 because the hearing is going to be 90 days out because that's how far I'm booked. So we wouldn't do a trial until probably the end of January, and we still wouldn't have the information. So if we delay it by a few weeks after that, you may get it right, and there may be no objection at that point.
And if I initiate in the middle of February, it'll probably be about 60 days before
Right.
we've got all the
But again,
information to go.
it goes back to August, but we have the correct information.
So if there's an increase, there's a potential for substantial initial
Yeah,
arrears
and
upon
that was
entry. So
Mr. Protzinski, you might want to kind of talk to your attorney and see if he can get you an estimate of what and put it aside. That way you don't get dinged. Because what happens is
Okay.
once you owe over 2 months worth of child support, under federal law, they alert the credit rating systems, and I think that might affect your business. So be careful with that. Okay. That way you have money set aside.
Even if I pay that on time.
Correct. So if there's over 2 months of an arrears, and preserving the date back to August can do that. So if you start setting it aside now, if you have an arrear, once you clean it up, there's no reporting.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. It's a federal law. Friend of the court and I tried for 2 years to try and overcome it about 8 years ago, and we can't do it. We tried. We tried to find a workaround because we didn't like the fact that it was hurting some people. If you're a W-2 employee, not so much. If you're somebody who owns your own business. Now, are you a sole proprietor? Is it what type of
corporation, 2 owners?
S or C corp?
S corp, I believe.
S corp.
Yes.
So you got flow through taxation.
Yes.
So yeah, the K1s are going to definitely be needed.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Those perfect. Now you mentioned I have to submit that to the front of the court, but you also mentioned it's going to be in February. Should I wait until February to submit everything then?
You can probably okay. That way you get it. I was going to ask Mr. Baker how he preferred if he wanted to start in on it for 2022 and 2023, but
I won't pick it up. If you send it today, I won't work it till.
So work it until it gets So
just
send it when you get it all done.
We verify your mailing addresses. I won't say the full address. I think you're on hometown, Mr. Protzinski.
No, I've sent that in twice now for an address change. I don't know why it's not being changed.
Okay,
we need
why don't we do that? We'll go off the record. We'll